forward with our agenda, I am thrilled to introduce our panelists for the upcoming discussion who will bring the wealth of expertise to the table. Please give a round of applause to Dr. G.V. Rao. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India and Vice President, Indian Society of International Law, who will shed the light on the topic, Higher Education in India, a Paradigm Shift in a Globalized World.
Yes, good afternoon, all of you. It's indeed a privilege and honor to be here before all of you. I see so much excellence, so much achievement, so much modern educational, expertise. Just to introduce myself, I'm a senior advocate at the Supreme Court of India. I've been at the Supreme Court for the last 35 years. You can imagine my vintage. I think even Vic probably, we may be competing with each other for seniority at this gathering. I'm very happy, and I must thank Vinay, Abhishek, and Pradeep for inviting me for this event. I'm not sure if I actually fit in to be able to address all of you, but I will share some thoughts which might be helpful and inspiring. Couple of things first. I studied in New Delhi. I went to a school called Ami Public School, which is now in Dhola Kuan near the airport. And till I started practice about 20 years ago, we did not have any technology. Just to go and pull out a book, read it, make notes, and so on and so forth. So some of you, might find that very, amusing. And the petitions that we prepared in our early years of practice were on typewriters, manual typewriters, tap, tap, tap. And, they would put a cyclostyle. I don't know if you're going to have heard the word cyclostyle. So there would be a sheet of paper that you put there and multiple copies would come out of that. So we used to cyclostyle them. And if you made a mistake, it was not easy. You had to type the whole thing all again or type at least one page, or if you want to insert, it would be difficult. But yet, just when I was in the early years of practice, technology became, something that was available to us, and we all sort of picked up on that. One of the reasons that really qualifies, me to be able to be here and address you is that early in the 90s, I was a part of a movement called National Alliance for Fundamental Right to Education, NAFRE. This is a small acronym, NAFRE. What did NAFRE do? We all fought to make right to education a part of the Indian Constitution, a fundamental right. And some of you, have some brief understanding of law, would know that fundamental rights are the most sacrosanct aspects of the Constitution. And we were able to we fought. We went to the president, there was a movement to the parliament, etc., and all of us, and we actually were successful to include right to education as a fundamental right in the Constitution, Article 21A. We got it included. What did it mean? It meant that free and compulsory education from the age of 6 to 14 to everybody across the country by the government. And that's a beginning, an enormous beginning. If today so much excellence is here before us, it is that work which was carried out and done by some of us who legally tried to improve the entire educational ecosystem in India. And we did that by instrument of law. So that's one aspect which gives me some kind of minor qualification to address you, that I belong to that era where we set the foundations for creating excellence in education. And that was done by my court. The Honorable Supreme Court passed the judgment, and then thereafter the Parliament passed the act, right? So we have right to education, which is, now education has to be top down. It has to go on the other way, the reverse, down upwards. You know, if you generate, like they say, if you give somebody a fish, you're feeding him for once. But if you teach him how to fish, you're teaching it for a generation. So that is where it is. And that is one of the things that really it was a passion for us. And all of us did that. And we were able to spread the level of education right across the milieu, and the state governments are doing it, and it's available to us now. Even schools will give you evening education, or the public schools, etc. There is a time slot, etc., that is made available to educate the poorest of the poor and those who are at the lower strata of economic strata of the society. Now, it is heartening for me to see today's event and the kind of excellence in the area of education that all of you represent, and that we have arrived at this point. Because I have seen an era in the 90s when India did not have 2 weeks of foreign exchange. 2 weeks of foreign exchange. We had one single car. Or maybe two brands of car, one Fiat and Mazda something, and that was available on the streets. And when I was making calls during my early school, college days till much later, you had to book a call the telephone exchange and said, I want to make an international call, and they would call you back at about 6:37 or about 6-8 hours later and say, sir, your call is ready, can we connect? And it would be running faster than anything you can imagine at the cost of it. So all you said to your relatives or friends overseas was a quick hello, and you would disconnect because it would be prohibitive. In the year 1994, technology was advancing, fax machines came, and the telephone bill I had to pay for faxing things to Singapore was 1.5 lakhs of rupees for a month. And fax machines used to have thermal paper, and then you had to photocopy it, and so on and so forth. So there you are. That is where we have traveled, and all of that with the help of technology. And some of you have addressed those sessions about our advancement in technologies. We are now leaders. Bangalore, from where I belong, is a global capital for information technology, and which has helped everything else. And education being the center of all prosperity, all knowledge, all development, is something that all of you are dedicated and devoted to, and you pass it on from generation to generation, and your children, and so on and so forth. And therefore, you are building prosperity, you are building the nation, which gives us things like leadership of G20. All of what we did earlier gives us the global position. I have been traveling right from my early years of practice, just after college, all over the world to do things in Austria, in Greece, in Georgetown University, Washington, D.C., where I did structuring and financing of foreign investment. And we were some kind of remote country with snake charmers and so on and so forth, but we did not achieve and enjoy the position that people from Indian origin enjoy anywhere else in the world. And that is primarily because we have given strong emphasis to greater educational facilities, development methods, promoting and respecting our teachers and our academicians, etc. So that's a fantastic approach, and I've been able to address conferences in UNESCO. And let me give you an example, very interesting example. Yesterday I was in communication with my classmate from my high school days. She was less known, not much communicative. She moved from a different school. Well, nobody recognized what her brilliance was, and so on and so forth. Sometime in 2014, I saw her with escorting the VIPs for the swearing-in ceremony. And I said, no, that's my classmate there. a lady named Ruchira Kamboj. We studied in textbooks. We didn't have technology. She now holds the position of the permanent representative of India in the United Nations. She's our permanent representative there, fighting for India's rights, representing it, our place in the Security Council, in the Committee of Nations. It can't get better than the world. That's the World Assembly. And the education standards which we have helped somebody like my classmate in school to reach that position where, as the president of the Security Council, you are the leader of the, of the globe, literally speaking, in terms of all that happens, peacekeeping, etc. So she held that position. She continues to hold that position as a lady, as someone who's from a different, a previous era. Now, that is primarily because we essentially as Indian people have the necessary wherewithal. The entire thing starts with having the ability to do so. Tools are another. Just now he said, write pens from a pencil to a cell phone or an iPad or whatever you have is only a tool. At the end of the day, it is that. And then that's what is required. And when I was growing up, this is what I learned. And that was in those days, man's technology, that success is 99% hard work and 1% inspiration. So the most important thing which I would think I would take away, all of you know so much more, is to be is to inspire your all of your students and fellow colleagues and events like this. I just noted that when I was growing up here in the city of Delhi, I'm Delhi, although I belong from south of India, I've traveled the length and breadth, and I've seen educational institutions which are dear to me, and I have been able to lecture at 15, 20, various institutions. I was conferred professorships by 2 universities. I always did that. I loved imparting and sharing all that I learned, and that was a great help. So when I was in here growing up in Delhi, we had only one All India Institute of Medical Science, which was there in, some of you, if you know where it's located, it's there, one All India Institute of Medical Science. Today, we have 20 All India Institute of Medical Science, 20 of them right across the country, scattered everywhere, available to everybody. We had only IIT Delhi when I was in high school, etc. I think maybe later Bombay's almost a few days, 1 or 2 of them. Today we have 23 IITs. We have the IIM Ahmedabad was the first one. We have 21 IIMs. We have 31 NITs and 25 IITs. That is, we have concentrated on diplomas and skill development and other kinds of things. We have 7 Indian Institute of Science, Economic Research. We have 7 NIPERs, NIDs, National Institute. We have 5 of them. School of Planning and Architecture was just 1 right across the Supreme Court. Now we have 3. We have 7 central universities. We have 4 medical top-class medical research institutions, 12 other specialized institutes, and total 167 national institutions which are imparting excellent education. All of those who are leading some of the topmost companies which you are aware of in the US are all homegrown educated. Sundar Pichai did not even go to an IIT, he was from Madras University. In that sense, what we have done primarily is to excel in the field of education, where we were able to hold positions of leadership in all parts of the world, the United States being the premier of them. We've done that. We even have a prime minister who's in UK, probably not educated in, but it's an Indian mind, Indian people. It gives us pride. And probably the man in Ireland is probably from Mumbai. And we've had, anyway, so the main point that I'm trying to make here is that from nascent just developing country which we were 75 years ago, we created so much. Just imagine what we could create if all of us put ourselves to making this, the education a great excellence. Now today we have medical tourism in India. In the Nalanda and other ancient universities, the other day I met the Vice Chancellor of Nalanda. He was known to me earlier, and we were happy to reunite after that. And we our ancient institutes of excellence. We should be able to create that kind of excellence, that kind of educational excellence where no one from India has to travel overseas to get some kind of qualification, to get a pat on the back, to get some kind of recognition, or whatever you might call it. You need to have people coming from all over the world. As you know, we have the Atmanirbhar, where we are manufacturing so many products in India, where which are, if you invite foreign investment in any form, you are enriching the country. If you're taking it out, then you are impoverishing it in some way. So the entire emphasis of all of you leaders of education is to ensure that we are able to attract that talent. Now, digital education is there. Today, as we speak, as Vice President of the Indian Society of International Law, on a weekly basis, we have people from different parts of the world who are holding positions in the United Nations, in the World Economic Forum, in various top-class universities, in the law of the sea, in humanitarian law, all of us addressing and interacting. And today technology helps us to achieve excellence by being in this place. The only thing is, you can say, well, that could happen anywhere, but no. Not everybody has that ability to guide and to help and train not only teachers but the students who are working with you. And that ability, yes. My time is up, and I had a lot to say, and I also had a prepared speech, but I will just read some conclusions from my prepared speech in 1 minute, and that will be all, right? So in any case, I happened to be in I happened to lose out on because of the excellent this thing is. So my conclusion, in conclusion, this is the National Education Policy of 2020. In conclusion, the national education policy and an increasing force on global competitiveness have propelled considerable expansion and change in India's higher education system over time. Notwithstanding the obstacles and intricacies, India is well positioned to become a major force in the world knowledge economy. India's higher education system has experienced significant expansion in recent times, owing to the country's extensive network of universities and colleges and freestanding institutes. Achieving educational inclusion and accessibility is demonstrated by the rise of enrollment and gender parity. Opportunities in higher education institutions have had the chance to adjust to the ever-changing dynamics of the higher education environment, thanks to the structural and policy reforms that the national educational policy brought about. Using virtual learning and non-traditional courses, digital skills and partnerships with edtech companies can improve the caliber and applicability of the education policy in India. National Education Policy 2020, by placing a strong emphasis on faculty development, research, innovation and digital learning, the NEP seeks to transform higher education. Even if the strategy tackles a number of difficulties, such as curriculum restructuring and equity concern, its successful execution necessitates the allocation of resources and the coordinated efforts. Employability skills in industries like engineering, management, and particular employability is still a major challenge. The necessity of a curriculum revisions, industry, academic collaborations, and teacher training programs is highlighted by the requirement of soft skills, English proficiency, and practical competences. Finally, global opportunities for Indian professionals. India's workforce is positioned for success in the global arena thanks to its efficiency in English proficiency, skill development, and international engagement. International mobility is facilitated by platforms such as PTE. Academic and competitiveness is enhanced by career integration and a lifelong learning efforts. Notable modification to student profile and segmentation. The student profile and educational preferences are influenced by changing market demands and demography. To ensure relevance and effectiveness, educational institutions need to address skill gaps, accommodate a diverse student body, and adjust to the changing demands of the business. Thank you so much for patient hearing.